Few people can boast that they love whom Donald Trump portrays himself to be, and perhaps even fewer can say they know who he is. How did his life start? Who was he before he became the Republican candidate that no Democrats wanted to vote for? What makes him tick beyond giving offensive slurs physically and on social media? What are his assets? How often does he give to charity? What skeletons lie behind his hidden doors? These are questions people need to pay more attention to. Still, the answers to these are all part of ex-President Donald Trump's life. Chapter 1: A Wealthy Birthright. Donald John Trump was born on June 14, 1946, at Jamaica Hospital in the New York City borough of Queens. He was the fourth child of Fred Trump, a real estate developer born in the Bronx and whose parents were German immigrants, and Mary Ann McLeod Trump. Living in the Jamaica Estates district of Queens, where he was raised alongside his older siblings Mary Ann, Fred Jr., and Elizabeth, as well as his younger brother Robert, Trump went to the private Q Forest School from kindergarten through 6th grade. He began attending the exclusive boarding school New York Military Academy when he was 13 years old, and in 1964 he began attending Fordham University. He transferred to the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania 2 years later, and in May 1968, he earned a B.S. in economics. So as cliché as this sounds, Trump did have top-tier white boy privileges. And this isn't all, he didn't get to serve. While in college, Trump obtained for student draft deferments during the Vietnam War era. In 1966, he was deemed fit for military service based upon a medical examination, and in July 1968, a local draft board classified him as eligible to serve. In October 1968, he was classified 1Y, a conditional medical deferment. In 1972, he was reclassified 4F due to bone spurs, permanently disqualifying him from service. Donald Trump gained favor in the sight of his father when his elder brother, Frederick Christ Trump Jr., October 14, 1938 to September 26, 1981, fell out of favor with their dad when he chose to become an airline pilot at the expense of their family business. Fred Sr. Trump then chose Donald as his heir and set him over the family business. Donald Trump has described his dad Fred as his hero, best friend, and role model. The ex-president joined his dad's real estate management company and eventually expanded the family's imprint into Manhattan, following in many of his father's footsteps. Chapter 2: The Time He Was President of America. The inauguration of Donald Trump as the 45th President of the United States on January 20, 2017, signaled the start of his term and lasted till January 20, 2021. Trump, a Republican from New York City, was elected president after defeating Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton in the 2016 presidential election by a narrow margin in the Electoral College, even though he did not receive a majority of the popular vote. He was inaugurated as the nation's first president who had never held a military or public post. Throughout his campaign and presidency, Trump made many untrue or misrepresentative claims. After serving one term, he was defeated by Democrat Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential race. A brief timeline of his presidency. Inauguration. On January 20, 2017, Trump promised to unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism and emphasized that it is the right of all nations to put their interests first. TPP withdrawal. On January 23, 2017, he ordered the U.S. Trade Representative to withdraw the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Travel ban. On January 27, 2017, Trump ordered a ban on nationals of 6 Muslim-majority countries. Striking Syria. On April 7, 2017, Trump authorized a limited cruise missile strike on the regime-controlled Shayrat Air Base. A war of words with North Korea. On August 8, 2017, Trump warned that North Korea would be met with fire and fury if they continued their threats to launch missiles, and it ensued a back and forth between him and the North Korean leader. The second round of Syria strikes. On April 13, 2018, Trump ordered the U.S. military to strike 3 facilities in Syria linked to the Bashar al-Assad regime's chemical weapons program. Tightening the border, May 2018 to October 2018, the president instituted a blanket zero-tolerance policy in May that resulted in the U.S. Border Patrol. Withdrawal from Iran nuclear agreement, May 8, 2018. Trump-Putin summit in Helsinki. On July 16, 2018, Trump and Putin met in Helsinki for a 2-hour meeting behind closed doors, accompanied only by 2 interpreters. U.S. troops to leave Syria and Afghanistan, December 2018. Border wall battle, January 25, 2019. China trade war heats up, May 2019. Withdrawal from northern Syria, on October 6, 2019, in the wake of a call with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Trump abruptly decided to withdraw all remaining U.S. troops from Kurdish-controlled northern Syria. Baghdadi killed. On October 26, 2019, Trump announced that the leader of the self-proclaimed Islamic State, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, had been killed by U.S. forces. Trump's acquittal, February 5, 2020. U.S. Taliban agreement, February 29, 2020. National emergency over coronavirus, March 13, 2020. COVID-19's diplomatic fallout, March 2020, September 22, 2020. WHO withdrawal notice, July 6, 2020. Drawdown of troops in Germany. On July 29, 2020, Defense Secretary Mark T. Esper said the U.S. was planning to withdraw thousands of troops stationed in Germany. Arab-Israeli normalization deals, September 2020 to December 2020. Refugee cap reaches record low, September 30, 2020. Defense Department shakeup, November 9, 2020. Days after losing re-election to Biden, Trump announces Esper's termination as Defense Secretary on Twitter. Open Skies withdrawal. On November 22, 2020, the United States formally exited the Treaty on Open Skies, which experts see as a setback to international arms control efforts. Insurrection at the Capitol. On January 6, 2021, a pro-Trump mob, egged on by the president, stormed the Capitol building and disrupted legislators meeting to certify President-elect Biden's victory. Chapter 3. Some of his scandals. Best believe that Donald Trump is the most controversial president the United States of America has ever had, and if you are in doubt, here are some of his plenteous scandals. His case with Summer Zervis. Summer Zervis, a former Apprentice contestant, filed a defamation lawsuit against Trump in New York State just a few days before his inauguration. One of the many women who accused Trump of sexual misbehavior or assault before the election was Zervis, protected by the renowned attorney Gloria Allred. She alleges that he kissed her and put his genitalia against her without her consent. In response, Trump said that all of the women who accused him had made up their allegations. Zervis then sued him for libel. "I wanted to allow Mr. Trump to retract his false statements about me and the other women who came forward," she said. If Trump admitted that she had been truthful, she stated that she would withdraw the lawsuit. However, the lawsuit was quickly dismissed. Racial housing discrimination. In 1973, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against Trump and his father, Fred, for housing discrimination at 39 locations in New York. According to the New York Times, the government said that Trump management had declined to rent or negotiate rentals because of race and color. Additionally, it alleged that the business had misled black people about the availability of flats by requiring various rental terms and conditions based on race. The allegations, according to Trump, are very ludicrous. The Trumps hired Roy Cohn, a lawyer who had previously worked for Joe McCarthy and was famously declared free of several federal felonies by Michael Kinsley. For $100 million, they sued the Justice Department. The Trumps ultimately settled with the government, promising to be non-discriminatory and agreeing to routine inspection by the New York Urban League, but critically, without admitting wrongdoing. On the long history of claims at Trump-owned hotels, the Times has a lot more information. Chapter 4: His Assets. Forbes assessed Donald Trump's assets as worth $3.2 billion as of October 26, 2022, despite Trump claiming far more. Trump had a wealthy inheritance from his father, and he has also amassed income through fundraising, real estate endeavors, hotels, casinos, golf courses, and the sale of goods bearing the Trump name, such as steaks and suits, gifts, loans, and other wealth from his father. Trump reportedly received at least $413 million from his father's business empire, according to a New York Times report in 2015. The Times discovered 295 separate revenue streams that Fred Trump constructed over a 5-decade period to channel his riches to his son by using more than 100,000 pages of tax returns and financial documents from his enterprises and interviews with former advisors and employees. Trump often exaggerates the amount of money he inherited from his father when he discusses it. He would rather be known as a self-made man. For instance, he admitted taking $9.6 million from his father's inheritance in a sworn deposition from 2007 and borrowing $1 million from his father when he was a young adult in 2015 while running for president. He stressed that he repaid both loans with interest and called the amount small. These sums represent a minor portion of the total cash his father gave him. A 2019 study published in the journal Political Behavior found that many voters who thought of Trump as a savvy businessman and the choice for the presidency changed their opinions when told that he inherited much of his money from his father. Trust funds. Beginning in 1949, when he was 3 years old, Trump's father and paternal grandmother established several trust funds, of which he is a beneficiary. The New York Times reported that he was a billionaire by age 8. In 1976, Fred established trusts for his 5 children and 3 grandkids, each receiving a $1 million, or $4.8 million in 2021 dollars, gift. Through the fund, Donald Trump received $90,000 in 1980 and $214,605 in 1981. Chapter 5: His Philanthropic Achievements. It is important to note that Donald Trump once claimed he was very charitable in 2015 when he launched his campaign and plans to run for president. I think that number 1, I am a nice person. I give a lot of money away to charities and other things. I think I'm actually a very nice person. He said during a Morning Joe interview in 2016, I gave a lot of money to charity. I could release a list. I don't talk about my tax rate because I'm under audit, but when the audit's finished, I'll give you my tax returns. Never does a person who blows his own horn about charity donations actually stick to their claims, which was the case for Donald Trump. Trump's campaign claimed on the day he began his campaign in 2015 that he had donated $102 million to charity in the previous 5 years. Still, tax records obtained by the Times show that he only reported $735,238 in cash donations and $26.8 million in gifts of land and other non-cash items during that time. It is possible that he chose not to report some of his giving, the Times noted, with Trump Organization spokesperson Amanda Miller telling them it's impossible to know how much Trump has donated to charity because he gives money privately. According to the Times, Trump's largest cash donation was $400,000, which he received for his Comedy Central roast in 2011 and gave to his own Trump Foundation. The foundation was shut down in 2018 amid claims that he misused the money to advance his business and political ambitions. According to reports, Trump reneged on promises to donate $150,000 that the Libyan dictator Muammar el-Gaddafi paid him for lodging in 2011 and $4.5 million from book sales in 2015 and 2016. Instead, he reported giving just $22,796 and $1.3 million in cash during those times, respectively, though the Times noted that the tax information they obtained lists only certain corporate donations. Roughly 40% of the $7.5 million Trump reportedly gave in personal and business cash gifts since 2005 came following his campaign launch in 2015, with his $1.9 million in contributions in 2017 far outweighing his $81,499 in 2014.